right, someone said the fact that this is a real company is insane. So it says Big Nigga Burgers, bro. Argentine food chain Big Nigga Burgers is reportedly opening a store in Atlanta, which I found funny because from what I know about Argentina, they had a black genocide. This isn't all that surprising. Just look at the history of Argentina and its hatred/genocide of its black population during its war. Just adding, those folks that killed those other folks in that big war, they fled to Argentina, the ones that made it out. I know I'm mainly referring to their other wars during the 1800s. All right, so I will go give y'all the real's real about this because I know exactly what he was talking about. Closer look at that fucking chum bucket burger, though. Shit looks disgusting. Throw it in the fucking trash. We don't want it. Get it the fuck out of here. Hey, Atlanta, what's something big and black that you'll try to swallow whole? Whoa, pause. Hey, yo, what they got going on? Our smash burgers coming soon to a store near you. And their first location here is in Atlanta. So they were like, yeah, let's take it to Nigga Town, USA. And we hate black people from... All right, I'm going to get into the article. Black genocide, the true history of the whitening of Argentina. All right, class, hello. Let's get it going. In a striking metamorphosis, Argentina has become synonymous with whiteness in South America. The country reported a mere 0.365% of its population as Afro-Argentine in the 2010 census. Less than 2 centuries ago, black individuals comprised over a third of Argentina's population in 1800. Argentina's tumultuous journey from a diverse Afro-Argentine enclave to its current status as one of the whitest nations on the continent is a haunting tale of genocide and calculated devastation. This transformation exposes a past of strategic Afro-Argentine suppression through government policies and historical amnesia. All right, this section is called Blacks Do Not Exist. Today, many Argentinians hold the erroneous belief that Argentina neither participated in the slave trade nor witnessed the presence of Afro-Argentinians, as if they had left the country naturally. Such misconceptions persist despite historical evidence. Former Argentine President Carlos Menem once shockingly declared in Argentina, blacks do not exist. That is a Brazilian problem. The president of Argentina! The prevalent perception within and beyond Argentina is that of a predominantly white European society. Buenos Aires, the nation's capital, often earns the moniker Paris of Latin America in popular culture. However, this image is a product of the ugly racism that systematically erased Afro-Argentinians from the nation's fabric. Argentina's African roots and the role of enslaved Africans. The roots of this enigma trace back to the 16th century when the Spanish colonized Argentina. During this period, Spain relied heavily on enslaved Africans to sustain its colonies. Africans first set foot in the Rio de la Plata region, encompassing present-day Buenos Aires during the late 16th century. By the late 18th and early 19th century, black Africans constituted up to half of the population in some provinces. Slavery, albeit officially abolished in 1813 through the Ley de la Libertad de Vientres, which granted freedom to children of enslaved mothers, persisted unofficially until the early 1850s. Even after abolition, Afro-Argentines continued to experience systematic discrimination and exclusion from economic and political life. What does that sound like? That seems a little familiar. Coincidentally, this period marked the start of a precipitous decline in Argentina's black population. I still don't know if I said it right, but that sounds better. The factors behind the disappearance. The sudden and profound disappearance of black Africans from Argentina is attributed to a confluence of factors. The first is the war against Paraguay spanning from 1865 to 1870. Thousands of black individuals fought in the military during these conflicts and other wars, resulting in significant losses. The fatalities led to a considerable gender gap within the African population, prompting unions between black women and white men, which effectively diluted the black populace. In addition, many Afro-Argentines sought refuge in more welcoming political climates in neighboring Brazil and Uruguay. Another devastating factor was the outbreak of yellow fever in Buenos Aires in 1871, which claims the lives of numerous locals. However, many sources point to a far darker and more sinister force at work, a covert genocide orchestrated by Domingo Faustino Sarmiento, who served as Argentina's president from 1868 to 1874 and played a pivotal role in decimating the Afro-Argentine population. So, Domingo Faustino, the architect of genocide. Sarmiento staunchly advocated for white European racial purity and went to great lengths to eliminate Afro-Argentines. He even devalued the mixed-race Argentine cowboys known as gachos, likening them to fertilizer. Sarmiento's diary entry in 1848 included the chilling statement, in the United States, 4 million are black, and within 20 years will be 8 million. What is to be done with such blacks hated by the white race? Slavery is a parasite that the vegetation of England colonization has left attached to the leafy tree of freedom. During his presidency, Sarmiento instigated a systematic erasure of the African presence in Argentina through policy decisions that were harmful to black lives. He segregated the black community from their European counterparts, condemning them to inadequate infrastructure and healthcare, which facilitated their deaths during cholera and yellow fever outbreaks. Additionally, he forcibly recruited Afro-Argentines into the military, imprisoned them on minor or fabricated charges, and orchestrated mass executions. This was all a part of his plan. The culmination of these repressive policies, coupled with disease outbreaks and ongoing conflicts, nearly eradicated the black population by 1875, to the extent that the government failed to register African descendants in the national census altogether, in the national census. They said, oh, they don't even exist no more. So now they've started erasing history. In contemporary Argentina, the physical and metaphorical erasure of Afro-Argentines has left an indelible mark on the nation's identity and history. Some Argentinians even believe that their country never participated in the slave trade. You know why? Because they're changing up their history books. They're trying to change the history. You know what that sounds like? That sounds like what they're doing here, right? All right. So a lot of them think that they never even participated in slavery, a form of cultural amnesia that negates the inconvenient black presence in Argentina. Even the tango, Argentina's most celebrated cultural export, has been stripped of its historical connection to black Argentines. The early dance-related art reveals African roots stemming from the former Kingdom of Congo. This extensive erasure, encompassing historical, physical, and cultural dimensions, is deemed a triumph by governmental leaders who have perpetuated the vision of Argentina as an all-white extension of Western Europe and Latin America. The revival of Afro-Argentine identity. Despite these attempts at erasure, the Afro-Argentine community has seen a resurgence in recent years. Activists, historians, and organizations such as Casa de la Cultura Indo-Afroamericana have worked to preserve and restore the presence of black heritage in Argentina. The country has also seen renewed academic interest in its African roots, with universities and scholars shedding light on the hidden history of the Afro-Argentine experience. The hidden history. See how that's all systematic? It didn't get hidden out of nowhere. It took generations. Today, the descendants of Afro-Argentines continue to fight for recognition, reclaiming their cultural heritage and pushing for greater representation in national narratives. So if you didn't know that, go ahead and give me a like, give me a follow. Follow me on Twitch and YouTube. I'll be on live. Same name as here. Twitter and Threads as well. Give me a listen on the Apple, the Spotify, whatever you listen to music on, give me a listen. I got all genres on there. I make some good stuff. I engineer, mix, master all of this stuff. I record the stuff. I make my own beats, all that good stuff, all right? It's Kainen on all platforms, and I appreciate y'all for listening. Peace.